Environment and Sustainability Commission meeting. We are not quite ready to call to order because we are still short on quorum, but we can at least go ahead and start some introductions. My name is Amy Delac. I am the chairperson of the commission, and I am meeting today on lands that have been occupied for thousands of years by the Adena, Hopewell, Fort Ancient, and Shawnee people. We'll go to Paul next.
Hi, everyone. To Alexandra and Daniel specifically. Paul Logue, I'm the planner for the City of Athens and a member of the Sustainability Commission. So thank you for coming this evening.
Okay, Jasmine.
Hello, I'm Jasmine Fakoon. I am also a member of the Sustainability Commission. I am the Bailey's Trail System Program Assistant with Rural Action.
Sam.
Hi, everybody. Sam Crowell, Athens City Council Commission member.
Okay. Lauren.
Hello, I'm Lauren. I am a senior urban planning and sustainability intern, and I am, urban planning and sustainability, and then I'm the city planner intern for, yes, I think I said that right.
Austin, did we get you? Sorry, did I miss you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm Austin Babrow. I can't see my picture here. I don't know if that much matters.
Yeah, we don't see you.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. It looks like my video is supposed to be on. I'll fiddle with that. But at any rate, I'm a member of the commission. I'm a retired OU professor. I used to teach classes in environmental communication. That's it.
Austin, do you have like one of the little covers over your lens? Because I have one and sometimes I just forget to move that.
Yeah, I opened it. I just closed it and opened it again. Yeah,
that's the kind of thing I would forget. So, I don't, yeah.
Yeah, I usually keep it closed. So, yeah.
And I think we are still waiting on a couple more folks for quorum. I hope we get quorum tonight because we do have two students who are going to present today. We have Daniel Belmoran, and we have Alexandra. Is it Signs or Sinus?
It's Signs.
Signs. Okay, great. Why don't we go ahead and have you two introduce yourselves while we are still waiting for quorum? Alexandra, you want to go first? I see you on view.
Sure. So my name is Alexandra Signs. I am a first-year graduate student at the Masters of Science in Environmental Studies program, and I also went to OU for my undergrad. So I finished that last year in environmental geography, and I've been part of the Green Roof Initiative and the Green Roof Project on Schoonover.
Cool.
So that's what I do for my GA right now, and I'm really interested in urban forestry and river restoration, of course. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here. And Daniel?
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Belmoran, a longtime Athens resident and first-year MSCS student. My particular interests lie in environmental security and climate adaptation, and this was a very interesting project to really work on close to home.
Great. Okay. There is a link to the agenda up in the chat if anyone needs that. Paul, what is your recommendation?
Stefan's about to join.
Okay, good.
We can, as a general rule, you can carry on a meeting. What you can't do if you don't have quorum is make any decisions or vote on anything.
Okay.
Or you can just cancel the meeting as well.
Okay, I don't want to cancel the meeting, but yeah, so we can certainly still have.
I'm with you.
So let's go ahead. It sounds like maybe Stefan's in the is Stefan in the process of getting on? There's Stefan. All right, yeah. Stefan, why don't you introduce yourself? We've all introduced ourselves already.
Okay, so I believe I'm in my second term here on the commission, and also work with the multiple nonprofit organizations here, environmental organizations like the Athens Conservancy, the Athens Nature Center Initiative, Athens Area Birders, and on the state level with the Ohio Ornithological Society and the Ohio Bird Conservation Initiative, among others.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, so with quorum officially established, we will officially call to order. And the first order of business will be the disposition of the minutes from the February meeting, which Paul has sent around. Hopefully everyone got a chance to look at those. Did anyone have any edits or additions to those? Okay, and hearing none, can we get a motion?
Move approval.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Second order of business would be our next meeting date. It looks like that is April 7th. Does anyone have any outstanding issues with that? So it doesn't sound like anyone does. So we will plan on April 7th, 6 p.m., same Zoom station, most likely. Eventually, hopefully, we'll all get to meet again in person. But so tonight we're going to lead off with a presentation. We have two Master Science and Environmental Studies students. I think I got that acronym right. We have Alexandra Saenz and Daniel Belmoran, and they're going to talk to us about research that they are working on the Hocking River corridor. So one of the topics that the Sustainability Commission is really interested in is improving the ecologic functionality of the Hocking River corridor, maybe getting some more natural mowing regimes in, as we've all heard from Jasmine's presentation last year on that topic, getting rid of some of the invasive species, making it a more pleasant, functional, and wonderful place to be. And we did add another commission member in the last moment. So Elaine, you want to introduce yourselves, and then we'll turn it over to Alex and Daniel.
Sure. I guess I'm not muted. Yeah, sorry, I'm late. I was not paying attention to the time. I'm Elaine Getz, and I'm the Director of Energy Management and Sustainability at Ohio University, and I am a commission member and have been for maybe like 6 years now.
Awesome. Thanks. All right. And with that, we will turn it over to Daniel and Alex. I'm going to mute myself so that you guys will pop up on the speaker view. Do either of you need to share a screen?
Yes. So I can share the PowerPoint from my end.
Yeah, you should be able to just hit that share screen button at the bottom.
All right, are we all good to go here? Excellent. All right, so hello everyone again. Thank you for inviting us to speak to you today. We, in our environment and community class last fall, started to investigate the Hocking River corridor's ecological restoration potential, and we were looking at a few case studies. We actually were a group of three, and our third colleague, John, he's actually on his way back from Western Pennsylvania doing a bit of stream restoration work himself. So, well, we're sad he couldn't join us. He did contribute quite a bit to our presentation here. Moving forward, agenda, we're just going to go quickly, briefly recap the channel history. We'll look into our restoration case studies that we investigated. We also looked at how we would set priorities moving forward to fully explore restoration opportunities, and then also next steps, things that the commission can build on. So with that, I'm going to send it over to Alex to talk about history.
Okay, so before we get into history, Jasmine's work was actually the jumping off point for our work. And just a little recap, she investigated the pollinator use and calculated the effect of mowing regimes or lack thereof on the flood potential of the channel. Ultimately, she identified that the social, economic, and ecological benefits outweighed the risk of increased flooding. So next slide. This is a picture of the Hocking River in the 60s. As you can see, it runs straight through Athens, right under that big bridge that's still there. So Athens was built on this river, and as you can see, much of it is in the floodplain. The floodplain, which makes it very susceptible to severe floods. And there were several of these in Athens history, particularly a lot in the 1900s, the mid-1900s, which led to governmental attention, and because it was causing millions of dollars in flood damages and actually several fatalities. So next slide. So after multiple studies in the 40s and 50s and 2 large floods in 1963 and 1964, President Johnson tasked the USA COE, the Army Corps of Engineers, with making a solution to this problem. So they came up with the ALPP, which is the Athens Local Protection Project. It was reviewed by a number of governmental organizations, and the channelization was started construction in 1969. Next slide, please. So this is like a map of where the channel is. It starts at White's Run and it ends across from Stroud's Run Park, and it's about 5.5 miles in length. Next slide, please. So this is the current state of the Hocking River. There are no trees, not a lot of plants. There's no buffer between the road and the river or the city and the river. It's mown regularly, although that has relaxed a little bit since Jasmine's work. It looks plain, there's very little habitat, and it doesn't really add anything to our community other than flood protection. So next slide. Then we have a little bit of public opinion. Some people call this the Hocking Ditch. This is a picture of an actual ditch, and I think that's not really an outlandish premise. People say that it's not the same river from their distant memories. Of course it's not, but they would like it to be a little bit more like that. It's not natural. Nothing about it is natural. And if the Army Corps of Engineers were to do it today, they would do it very differently than they did it in the 60s. So next slide, please. So a little bit about river restoration. Why do we restore rivers and streams? Why are we worried about riparian habitat? So riparian habitat acts as a buffer zone. Sometimes it's called a buffer zone of vegetation, which provides habitat for animals and plants, obviously. It filters pollutants. It lowers the water temperature of streams, which raises biodiversity simply through shading and things like that. And it keeps pollution from roads and cities from going into the river. It also holds flood water, which could help with the flood management. So here we want to help restore this river either partially or fully by planting native plants, pollinator species, and trees along the river. Originally, there in the ALPP, there was a section talking about planting trees, but the Hocking Conservancy decided not to because they were afraid that it would increase the flood risk in the channel, which then was calculated to not really be a worry. So next slide, please. A modern example of a city, a conservancy, and the Army Corps of Engineers working together is a partial river restoration in Los Angeles. As you can see, it's all like industrial. In the first picture on the left, the river is only in the bottom corner, but in the second picture, the proposed plan, obviously it looks much more natural. It's a lot bigger. There's human aspects of it, like nature trails and everything, but it's going to be a better, more free-flowing and healthier river. So next slide, please. University of Wisconsin decided to make its water feature one of its standout features, and they've improved their trails around the lake, which has increased student participation and given them a resource they wouldn't have otherwise. It's been very successful for them. next slide, please. Michigan State University has a river running through it, a lot like the Hocking, and they had their own river restoration project. As you can see, through the before picture on the right, there was nobody there, not a lot of vegetation, kind of plain. And then the picture on the left, there's a river walk, there's people studying there, it looks beautiful. And so that's kind of what we want to do for our river. Next slide, please. The main case study that we're looking at today is the University of Toledo because it's close by and it's a similar size. So the University of Toledo wanted to improve their river, the Ottawa River, and they made 3 teams to tackle the project, and they included a student survey and a planning charrette in order to drum up opinions and community involvement. So next slide. First team is communication, records, outreach, and engagement. Obviously engaging staff, students, community members, and developing and maintaining relationships so that the project has a solid base and support from the community of which it services. Next slide, please. Team 2 does the habitat restoration, development, and beautification, making sure that it's aesthetically pleasing, that people will like the results. They gather ideas and suggestions, proposals from stakeholders and community members, and incorporate them into the restoration. Next slide, please. And then Team 3 works on development and grant opportunities. So they're more about the economic side of it and how they can benefit from human interaction, as well as where they can get grant opportunities. A lot of the grants that they found, they actually looked in a database that has a lot of government-funded grants, and that's how they've mainly gotten their funding. I've actually looked at the website. It's pretty incredible. So that could be a future source of funding for this project if it were to become a reality. And that's it for my section. I hope I gave you enough time, Daniel, so I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Alex. So each of these projects really comes from a base point of understanding that the rivers in each of these communities really contribute to they're central in the city and community life. The ecological functioning of that river is key to, mental health, is key to commerce in that area, and the ability for these projects to proceed was based on that common understanding. Now, in the case of the Hocking River and Athens City and the surrounding area, before we even get to that point, before we really understand that, we have to kind of understand what our assumptions are. So in 2020, I guess it's 2021 now, and beyond, we're assuming that Athenians really want to restore this corridor. What does that entail? And are they fully up to date on what benefits there are? And so in this case, a goal for this commission and any future effort would be to develop a sense of corridor consciousness. So what does the Hocking River really mean to Athens and its community? Our second assumption is that Ohio University, a key partner here, also sees the river as a key economic and environmental asset to its campus and the surrounding community. I know that in many of the sustainability action planning exercises, it is mentioned. In this latest draft, it's actually mentioned in terms of collaborating with community members to manage stormwater. And while that is important, it's also interesting. It's an interesting jump-off point for us to include the ecological restoration point too. And our third assumption, which is the key to get us off the ground here, is that a concerted public effort to bring awareness around this subject is going to help push a review of the Army Corps of Engineers process, update that manual, and allow more up-to-date processes in terms of mowing and other floodplain management processes to allow for this restoration and rewilding process. So moving forward, with those assumptions, there's a number of things that we started to look at. Obviously, restoration efforts have a high initial cost. if you're looking at it just from the financial part, the Conservancy District its funding is effectively frozen based on assessments done in the 60s. So solely by that point, it's not something that is considered economically feasible. But if we start to think about how, we can increase public recreation, the increase of amenities in that area. I know that there's a lot of investigation into new permanent homes for the Athens farmers market and other activities. The river, provided that it is, deemed minimally environmentally impactful, could be a great place for that, so long as the connection of this restoration efforts with the public good is really incorporated into planning efforts. And also other city planning, such as age-friendly Athens. This is a key asset if we, incorporate into what we're thinking about. The other thing we started to do is think about, okay, looking at these case studies, how do we start to think about this strategically? How do we move forward? The Toledo case started with 3 committees. We came up with a few goals. This goal that we started here is, in order to develop a consciousness around the Hocking Corridor and its centrality to Athens, what are some objectives? What are some strategies we can do here? So, the big important thing that was actually Jasmine mentioned in her conclusion was that, we really need a concerted marketing effort here. How do we convince Athenians of the benefits of these practices? And really gauging that opinion is important, because we don't want to embark on a project that isn't necessarily seen as a collective good without, getting everyone on board. So everything from, surveying, right now, pandemic precautions kind of prevent large groups of gatherings, but we do have vaccination efforts where we could start to, disseminate, optional surveys about, what people's feelings are about the river, how they recreate in the surrounding area. There are other ways that we can use our Ohio University partner as a source of cutting edge research. There's a number of different departments that might be doing things related to river restoration, water flow that we can start to incorporate. We could become a center of knowledge here, working with the Historical Society to bring in archival knowledge. And then also we can leverage really the creative imagination of Athens. We have a very vibrant artistic and creative writing community, starting contests within, school curriculums to really build up this sense of this is something that is important to us. And, hopefully with that momentum, you can start to strategically think about how you're going to convince the Army Corps of Engineers and other actors to really help us, start this project. We looked at some stakeholders too. This was initial look. We have Ohio University, the City of Athens, the River Conservancy itself, public businesses, students, and alumni. All of these stakeholders really have a part to play in increasing awareness of the benefits of ecological restoration. There are a number of different strategies we can take, but at least, identifying who these people are and what benefit they might get from this would also be a really strong jumping off point. So, this is really our abbreviated presentation. We wanted to bring the highlights of the case studies and the next steps, really understanding what the benefits of ecological restoration of the river is and how we communicate that to people. So really at this point, we need to identify any other additional stakeholders who could potentially benefit from this. Complete formal goal setting processes. Like we identified a few goals, but maybe there are more that could be integrated into this. Things that are additional concerns that we might not have necessarily thought about. The Sustainability Action Plan at the Ohio University actually mentioned that they wanted to interact with community groups to start this process. So that could be a great starting off point too. And the biggest thing here is also to get imaginative. How do we move beyond a ditch mentality into, a vibrant biodiverse and climate impactful river corridor. That's where we want to get with this. So thank you again for your time. I don't know if we have time for questions or anything like that, but we did want to acknowledge a few people too. Our cohort, Lorraine McCosker was also very helpful with this project. Jasmine's research provided a great jumping off point, and working through COVID restrictions on this project was something else, but it was great to have a good team behind it.
All right. Thank you both so much. Actually, Daniel, if you can unshare your screen, then we can see each other a bit more. I do have some questions, so I hope we have, and I don't think we have a tremendous amount of other stuff on the agenda tonight. So I wanted to start with, first of all, thank you both. This is great. I think it dovetails nicely with Jasmine's work and with, some of the hopes that a number of us members of the commission have. I have actually several questions, so maybe I'll throw them all out at once. First of all, your Toledo River case study, is it under the same, or was it originally under the same kind of management regime by the Army Corps of Engineers as the Hocking is?
That was John's department, so I will look at his notes really quickly and tell you.
So my suggestion is, if it's not, my personal feeling and the impression that I've gotten from Jasmine and others is that we're not going to get anywhere on improving the river corridor without the Hocking Conservancy, the Army Corps, approving or leading maybe even what happens. And so I would recommend, if the Toledo River isn't one that they have done flood control on before, maybe see if there are examples you can find where an Army Corps influenced river has been made more natural. The LA River, I would say, almost certainly is. The Sacramento River might be as well. And I'm sure there are other examples. So it would be good to look at what other sort of successful blueprints might be out there working with the Army Corps.
I thought Jasmine had one in her thesis that she showed us. I want to say San Antonio, or was it Sacramento, Jasmine?
Yep, San Antonio.
San Antonio, okay.
Yeah, San Antonio we also had in our brief, but we cut it for time because it was an abbreviated version. I actually did look at the notes, and the Toledo River project was actually managed by the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I really liked that you guys brought in, the university aspect, because I focused more on the community side of it. I didn't know that students would care so much. but OU, I mean, we're a company town in Athens, and absolutely, we kind of need to get OU on board if we're going to conquer this. So I that was really cool side of it to explore a little bit more.
And the other question is maybe as much for Jasmine as it is for the two of you. But is there a role potentially for the Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia to be involved?
I was thinking that exact thing. I was waiting. Yep. I need to talk to Jessie and send her my thesis and maybe send her your notes too, guys. Because, right now she's pretty much, Jessie is the executive director of ORCA. And, Bailey's is the only project right now, and that needs to fully succeed before we take on a lot more. But I know Mayor Patterson's talked about having river be more accessible to recreation. And, right now as it is, I don't know that a lot of people want to spend a whole lot of time at least on that part of the river. So, I think that would, again, dovetail really well with, current goals of the city and making Athens a more, just friendly environment for outdoor recreation more generally. That helps not just the environment, but also potentially the economy here. So, we need to start diversifying our economy. Everybody here is aware of that. So that company town thing. Yeah. But did you guys have something to add to that?
Yeah, no, the more we can make it attractive investment, to put it in those terms, is important. I mean, you have the vision of a bike path that kind of spans both. You get all the way down past the soccer fields in that area, and then you're able to loop back around, and then you have a circuit. I mean, that in itself would be like a potential driver of more tourism, and especially if, as you increase the number of businesses that are able to operate safely in those areas due to floodplain concerns. So yeah, that's definitely something that we were considering, especially as we're also considering the role that OU alumni have in returning and becoming economic drivers. You have additional areas for them to interact. That would be another great place to start.
Yeah, because that's something that brings people to an area. And I've met several people, just my job now in the Baileys, who say that they were attracted to the area because of the outdoor recreation opportunities that are starting to pop up. So, we can attract high quality people to fill those jobs, by providing a high quality standard of living here. And that's all part of it.
I would agree. Part of when we were first talking about this project, one of the things that we had as an idea was maybe like a food truck event that you could do down by the river, or as you can see in you probably can't see them right now, but in our presentation, a lot of the river restoration projects have like a sitting area by the river. So that could be used for economic development. You could have whatever you want, like popcorn stands, popcorn, but like different kiosks and things out there. You could use that as a gathering place for recreation. I know a lot of people try to canoe on the channelized part of the river, but I heard that it's a little bit too shallow. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I have found that there's a lot of interest in this from whoever I've talked to about it. They all seem really, really hyped about it. They are very interested in turning the river into something that they can be proud of, basically. Because one thing that we talked a lot about while doing this project is the phrase "Harvard on the Hawking," right? And how that's something that you hear a lot, but when you think about the Hawking itself, it doesn't feel like it's on the same level to be next to Harvard. So that's something that we're hoping to change in the future.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, once we're able to get to a point where you can have an iconic event like Boogie on the Bricks alongside the river, I think that's, ultimately a goal you might have.
And I wanted to mention too, you guys talked about the goal in this Ohio University sustainability plan from the water section about, working with the community to protect groundwater quality and surface waters. But there's also in the ground section, there's the create and maintain healthy, natural, biodiverse, and beautiful landscapes that connect as the foundation for sustainability-oriented experiential learning opportunities. So that's another one that you could use as, an Ohio University goal that you're trying to reach with this. There are also some engagement ones, let's see, create and enhance, track transformative sustainability engagement ecosystems. Perhaps that one also is one you could add in as another goal for the Ohio University part. And also one more thing about Ohio University, if you're done with your project and there are little pieces afterwards that you were hoping somebody else will pick up, please send them to us to put in our sustainability project lab so that they'll be captured there so that other students can pick them up afterwards and make sure to continue them. So we want to make sure we don't lose this. Like if you guys go on and haven't finished it, we want to make sure that other students follow up.
Yeah. So, okay, Paul?
Yeah, just really quick, I wanted to thank everybody for this. This was awesome, as was Jasmine's thesis as well. This is really helpful stuff for the city. I did just want to let you guys know the city has had, we have ongoing conversations with the Army Corps about several items relating to the river. The big one that the city has a concern about is life safety issues at the dam at White's Mill, where over the last decade, there's several deaths have occurred. So there have been conversations about trying to make that area of the river safer. And legitimately, I can say, you know, when Jasmine did her presentation to this commission, that helped a lot to see what else could be done there. And what you all just showed us this evening is also really helpful to better understand it. So I want to thank you for that. And what I'm going to do is Mayor Patterson and I and Andy Stone, our service safety director, who's currently in the Middle East on a military deployment. The three of us have had conversations with the Army Corps. I'm going to make sure that Mayor Patterson is aware of your presentation so that we can start thinking about this in more detail. A couple of things I know from the Army Corps is that there is, like, you know, there's really no interest in changing a lot of things unless there's community buy-in on making major changes. So that was, and I think you both stressed that as well. The other thing that honestly didn't really occur to me until you said it is making sure that there's, like, if we are going to, if a future goal is to change this river, and I think it's safe to say that for most of us that is a future goal. I think it'd be really important to double check what the university thinks about that as well. And I think showing all those examples from university communities was awesome. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, again, thank you both. I think we'd love to sort of stay engaged. We won't make you dress up and present maybe again for a while, but we'd love to, you know, as you guys move forward, you know, maybe you have my email and Paul's, if you drop us a line about what your progress is, or if you do want to come back and present as your work moves forward, we'd love to hear from you again. And it's a personal top goal of mine to get a little bit more biodiversity along the river. So I think this is a great project, and thank you both for being part of it. You're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting, or you can go get yourselves dinner. And with that, I think we will turn to some other business. First up on our old business is B City USA, and I think that is Sam.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know the last time we talked about B City USA, one of the questions we had was the committee that we would have officially be responsible. I did finally hear back from the Xerxes Society, and they did say that the Environment and Sustainability Commission would be a fine committee to be basically the responsible party. It seems to fit. We did talk about whether we wanted to have a subcommittee, and I had a response from many members saying that they would be on this committee. It seems to me that it's easiest just to call the entire committee the committee of the B City USA. It fits with all of our biodiversity conservation efforts. It fits with our sustainability action plan. It fits with our pollinator. I don't think there's a reason really to form another committee or a committee within the committee. If everybody is comfortable with just having the Environment and Sustainability Commission be the committee for this, then I'm going to go ahead and put that on the application. But I just want to check with everybody to see if anybody had a different opinion.
Is that something that requires a motion?
Mr.
And a vote?
Sure. I move that the Environment and Sustainability Commission is the responsible party for the B City USA program initiative.
Second. I never usually second because I'm usually calling the vote, so I'm doing it this time. Any discussion? And we go straight to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Cool.
That's great. And I just want to say that I'm looking more deeply into the entire process than I had the last time we met. Athens is really doing a great job already. So many of the things that they require for you to work on in the first couple of years of applying, we already have. And really it's thanks to Amy and Stefan and Jasmine and those who really worked on our new biodiversity section, because that's what they want to see. And cool. Deeply into that, I saw the resolution that I sent to everybody. I'm going to send that to the mayor. I'll give you guys some time if you want to read through that and look at it and provide any comments. That's fine. The mayor is already on board with this, but I want to make sure he understands. The director of Arts, Parks, and Recreation will be the official city liaison. Excuse me. But pretty much we're good to go. I just need to
Super.
We're registered. We just haven't received the link to the application. But once I get
Great.
that, it should be easy.
Great. And that actually is a nice segue into our other matter of old business, which is the biodiversity section of the plan. So particularly for Alex and Daniel's benefit, we decided, I think it was Stefan who led the charge maybe about a year and a half ago with the idea that we really needed to include biodiversity as an official section of our city sustainability plan. We have energy, water, waste, the economy, transportation, food, greenhouse gas emissions. Maybe I caught them all. That's at least a bunch of them. But we did not have a section specifically on biodiversity. And so we sat down and wrote one, and we wrote about a 12-page kind of more full plan, and then also a condensed version that is in kind of the format of the rest of the plan, which is each section is about a 2-page thing in the official plan that we have. So I think we are hopefully at the point where we are ready to formally recommend to the city council, I guess, that they adopt our biodiversity section our biodiversity plan as a new section of the plan. And I think maybe we need a motion to move that up. And then it would be Sam or Paul who would take it to city council, I guess. This is where I'm still a little fuzzy on the process, to be honest.
I think Sam would probably take it. I'm happy to go to a council meeting, et cetera, Amy. That being said, I want to make sure that, I think it'd be great for you to be present if there's any committee meeting or anything, just to make sure like you did all this work on it and you're the chair, but I'm happy to discuss with council.
Okay.
The timing is actually perfect. This could be, our goal last year, if I'm not mistaken, the Sustainability Commission, the city, and we all kind of said the Sustainability Commission wanted to do something. We were asking City Council to do something legislatively, and the administration was going to do something in celebration of Earth Month, and then everything fell apart because of COVID. So this would be a great thing for April of 2021 to bring forward, I think. And the Bee City, the timing on both these is awesome.
Yeah, I think there's some nice synergy there, as well as the energy in helping the river. I think there's a lot of reasons to move forward sooner rather than later. So I guess, so the first question would be, did everyone get a chance to take one last look at both the short and long versions of the plan? Does anyone have edits? Are we ready as a commission to, formally move it up towards the official city level?
Personally, I think so. I'm not a diversity expert, but I think it looks great. Like I said, I dug into it much more deeply than I had before, looking at the Bee City stuff, and I'm impressed, quite frankly. So I think it's ready, but I'll defer to the Jasmines and the Stefans and the Amys and those that know.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at the shorter version that you drafted, Amy. I wonder whether, my initial version was a short one. And so I was wondering how similar they might be. But I don't want to hold things up. I fully trust you that you did a great job. So.
Yeah, the short version is really just, in the original plans, there's sort of a what is it, why is it important, what have we heard from the community, and we didn't actually do community listening about the biodiversity section of the plan, but I went back into the community listening notes that are on the box folder and found that a lot of people did say things that implied at least that yes, biodiversity is important to them. So I captured some of those things. And then there are some goals and metrics, which those I think are probably they could still be subject to change anyway. But yeah, so if if we're okay with it, I would see if we could entertain a motion to transmit the long and short versions of the biodiversity plan that we have drafted up to City Council. Okay, thanks.
I move that.
Okay. We have a second?
I'll second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. It's a good thing we got quorum because we've got a lot of motions that we're moving tonight. That's great.
So Amy, just FYI real quick. So I will speak with Clerk Debbie Walker and figure out exactly what the right time is to bring this forward. So we're doing it in April. And then I'll talk to you and we'll make sure.
Perfect.
But we should have still some time to sort of, clean it all up or whatever we need.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. And again, if anyone wants to take another look at it, and we can still be doing some editing while we're going through the process of figuring out the city process. Okay.
So where's the latest version, Amy, by the way?
Everything is on the box drive. Do you have the box or Dropbox?
Right.
Yeah, I have added both the long end version to the Dropbox.
Okay.
I figured that was easier than just continuing to email everything around. So I can never find my emails anymore. With that, we're going to move on to new business. We have the Ohio Clean Energy and Sustainable Communities Toolkit. That's Sam again?
Is that me? Oh my goodness. I think that is me, but I don't remember, why I presented it. It was really sort of, were there things within that toolkit that we wanted to focus on? And I'd have to go back, Amy. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think I have looked at it lately either. So why don't we'll put that as a business item for next month.
Sounds good.
Move on to that for next month. Did anyone else have anything other new business? I don't think anyone did. We have several announcements. So under announcements and updates, there are no announcements on the Wayne National Forest Plan. I think I mentioned last month that they have paused their planning process. And because of that, they're not doing monthly calls or anything anymore. So that we can probably even remove that item as a regular update. One thing I will announce is that yesterday, Elaine and I spoke with Dr. Amy Lynch's Environment and Sustainability Planning class. So I talked about our city plan and Elaine talked about the OU plan, and I think it went pretty well.
I think so too. You did a great job.
Thanks. So did you. So if anybody wants, I could actually, I will go ahead and add that presentation to the Dropbox as well, so that we have it in a place that everyone knows where it is. I ended up actually doing a mashup of some slides that I did, as well as the slides that the student group last year did when they presented the data. So I was able to pull their slides in as well, and sort of, which was good because having those direct slides kind of showed where they had issues with getting the data and things like that. So that worked.
What class was that, Amy? What class was that? I didn't.
It's Dr. Amy Lynch in the geography department. It's actually a class on environment and sustainability planning.
I took it. It was one of my favorites. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Elaine, I think you have an announcement about award nominations.
Yes, I do. So it's that time of year. We have issued our call for nominations for the sustainability awards that Ohio University gives every Earth Day. And we have, there's a community award. And I think like every member of this commission would probably be a good nominee for that award. We also have faculty, staff, and student and department, Ohio University Department awards. So if you have anybody you'd like to nominate, we'd love to see your nominations. We'd love you to be nominated. This is the first year that we've actually, I don't know why we've never done this before, but this is the first year that we sent it to all members of Ohio University community. Usually we've sort of just send it out to select people and ask them to nominate. And we're actually getting a lot of nominations, which is very nice. But
is this an appropriate place to be nominating, like in our meeting right now, to nominate somebody?
oh, there's a link actually. We should put the link in. Yeah. And
Yeah, if you can add that to the chat, Elaine, that'd be good.
Now I'm curious. Who are you going to nominate, Austin?
I was thinking about, I think Jasmine would be a good person to nominate because, well, I mean, well, seriously. So we already see that we see the student group that's already building on her work. And there was mention of other impacts of her work on city discussions and whatnot. So I don't know, just a thought.
Oh.
I was thinking the same thing, Austin.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Like I
This
said,
commission has won the award, I believe, Elaine, right? This commission won the award in like 2016.
yeah, the year we sent out our sustainability, we published our sustainability plan.
Well, I'm not trying to disrespect the work of the committee as a whole, but I think
No, not at all,
Jasmine's
not at
plan
all.
has a lot of, it seems like it's going to have a lot of impact, especially if the current discussions move forward. So.
Agreed.
Does it make sense for me just to send the link to the nomination?
You know, if you just go to ohio.edu/sustainability, it's right on our front page. Just click on nominate. There's a button there that says nominate.
Wait a second. I just sent that to Alexandra Signs. Sorry about that. Just a minute. Let me put it again in here. So that link goes straight to the nomination itself. And then there's more information on the link I will send next. Yeah.
I will say that if you are super pumped about, having the person that you nominate win this award, it really comes down to how well those nominations are written, because there's a committee of people who read everything and really base the award, their votes on how well those nominations are written. In not all cases do people know everybody. So sometimes, Elaine and I can kind of say, oh, this person definitely deserves it. But if their nomination is not written very well, then all the other members of the committee don't know anything, don't know much about it. So if you're going to, please do, take some time to use your, I think it's 500 words to the best of your ability.
So I'm also going to drop a link in the chat to remind everyone that the virtual Earth Month is coming up, and the link there to all of the events. In fact, there are events in March, so there's a couple of sustainability series films coming up, and then once we get into Earth Month proper, by the time we meet again, we'll be a week into Earth Month. So I wanted to drop that in the chat. So keep an eye on that. I'm sure new events are being added regularly. And then with the last few minutes of our meeting, one of the things that we had mentioned last month was that one of the conservation greats of Athens County and Athens City passed away earlier this year. That was John Naus, one of the founders of the Athens Conservancy. And so one of the commission members, I actually don't remember who it was, asked if we could reserve a few minutes if anyone wanted to provide a tribute to John Naus. And so let's go ahead and offer that opportunity to folks right now as well.
I'll just say, certainly we can, if you know John and you'd like to share some of your personal recollections, we can just do that. The current president of the Athens Conservancy, Councilmember Chris Fall, sent me a very nice video tribute to John, which is about 3.5 minutes long, and we could also play that if you don't know John well or don't know his impact or would just like to see a picture of him. That's all in this little tribute. So we can do this any way you'd like.
Yeah, why don't we give everyone a moment to give a personal testimonial if they'd like, and then maybe what we can do is actually officially close the meeting, and then we'll do the video and folks can stay and watch if they'd like. That make sense?
Sure, I'll start. I'll just say that, I would run into John at Sells Park, and he was always working really hard. And I learned about him and his work. And, we have a dog, and we're in Sells Park, Stroud's Run, all over our hills all the time. And the number of times I've been on a trail and been told that it was one of John's, sort of ideas, or John worked on this trail or whatever, is sort of not sure where I've been where that hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
So I did not know John personally well, but I certainly have appreciated all the work that he did. And especially my wife Terry is in Sells Park and Stroud's Run, all the time, and really appreciates John's work.
Yeah. And I would say I'm very much in the same position. I think I really only met John once or twice. I'm fairly new to Athens. I've only been here less than 4 years, and I think his health precluded him being out and enjoying all of the trails that he created for most of the time that I have overlapped with him. So I didn't know him very well, but yeah, we are also out on trails all the time, and very deep appreciation of the biodiversity conservation work that his work with the Athens Conservancy has also helped with in protecting some of the most special lands around Athens.
I can say I knew John professionally really well. I didn't know him personally, but he was always a huge asset for us. Whenever we needed any information about trails and GIS relating to outdoor recreation, John did a lot of mapping. He knew these hills really well. I still have some documents that John gave me. He had this concept of creating an emerald necklace around the city of Athens and having this trail network there. And it's one of those documents that anytime we start really thinking about trail work and how to make Athens greener, I kind of look back and start thinking about the things that John recommended and the way he looked at it. And he really had a really big, 1,000-foot bird's eye view of Athens and in this region, and kind of how to connect it all together and make it really bring out the nature that we love about this place. And I always thought John was one of those people that really understood that, like, we are in the woods, not there's not woods around the city, but actually we all decided, let's go move into the woods and let's build a city in the woods. And we're still like this city in the woods and this community in the woods. And so we need to make sure that we are, respecting the woods and respecting the natural environment around us, because it really is the big asset that is a reason why many of us are here right now.
If I could just double down on that real quick. One of the pictures that Daniel and Alexandra showed in their presentation is one of those great drone shots or somehow aerial shots. And you get that sense, Paul, that we are in the middle of the woods. You forget that, but there's just, you look, outside of, north of East State Street, and it's just nature. And I just wanted to too, that John was obviously a great trail creator, but he was a biodiversity guy. That's what he was into. And I'm told that he was something of an expert on ferns. And so now when I see ferns, I think of John.
In his work with the Athens Conservancy, we cannot discount the amount of, John did an incredible amount of grant writing and lobbying on behalf of acquiring real estate in Athens County and around the city to preserve that real estate in perpetuity for all of us and for our children and grandchildren. Like John he is one of the reasons that there will be, we will have dedicated green space for centuries in this community.
I looked on the website, the Conservancy website, and they list almost 50 parcels of land that the Conservancy either was responsible for purchasing or made a contribution towards purchasing, and it's an incredible amount of space.
Yeah, like Amy, I've only been here 5 years or so, and but that's one of those names that you hear, just being out and about, and just the testament, the legacy that he's left. It's a testament to the work that he's done. Just hearing all the stories when he passed, how the community just came together and wanted to play tribute to him. So yeah, I'm really grateful. I didn't know him, but I certainly knew of him, and very grateful for the work that he did. And I love that perspective that we are in the woods. I live in the country, so I see it all the time, but yeah, it is hard to forget, when you're down on East State Street that we're in nature, and that this is nature space, and we're just kind of renting it for a while.
Okay. All right, I don't hear anybody else jumping in, so maybe we will go to a motion to adjourn, but we will continue rolling while we watch the video tribute.
So moved to adjourn.